Hello, everybody. So I want to talk about electric at the end, but I'll start with some perspectives on the shipping, because that's what this panel is about, freight movement. So as you probably know, Lyft does not transport freight, but when you look at what we do, it starts to look suspiciously similar to intra-city goods movement. So of course, we're moving people, which is much more, there's a bigger safety concern, but really, when you look at what we're doing, we're getting a request for something to go from A to B, and then we're dispatching the right vehicle to take that person from A to B, much like a courier might do. And you're probably familiar with, there are some companies that do intra-city freight movement like Postmates, and so a good number of drivers on our platform drive for Postmates as well, and things like TaskRabbit and other things. So what we're starting to see, and what I think is really interesting and why I really wanted to be on this panel, was we're starting to see a lot of competition for space in cities, and in a very different way than we saw before. So in the past, it was pretty easy to design a city. You know, you built roads for people to drive cars, and then you built parking spaces for people to park the cars on. And that's still primarily what our cities look like, right? We have 1 billion parking spaces in the city, or in the country. We could pave the entire state of Connecticut if we wanted to, and then everybody owns a car, 2.7 cars per household in this country. But that's starting to change a little bit. And what we're starting to see is a new kind of competition for city space, and we're starting to see problems emerge. So in several cities across the country, you've probably seen in New York City that they're considering capping. They've actually, for 1 year, capped the number of new TNC vehicles in the city of New York while they study what to do about it. But what you'll notice is they didn't cap the number of FedEx vehicles or the number of UPS vehicles that can travel into the city and double park and deliver goods. So I think freight is getting a bit of a free pass in cities right now, but that's not going to last forever. And so what I'm really interested in is thinking through how can advanced people movement, advanced mobility like my company, work with shipping and freight companies within cities to optimize it. I didn't know the stat that we heard earlier that although people are getting billions and billions of packages from Amazon, that trips to Target are not down. That's a really interesting stat, and it's really unfortunate because that means, well, it's unfortunate, but it's an opportunity. It means there's a lot of room in the system to optimize. Why can't Lyft take the person to Target, drop the person off at Target shop, put the Target thing for the person who ordered it, and that vehicle goes. So I think that either it's going to come to a head in cities where not only will TNCs be blamed for congestion, but freight is going to start being blamed more and more for congestion. And we can either be pitted against each other saying, no, it's UPS's fault, no, it's Lyft's fault, or we can work together to try to optimize it. One thing I'm particularly interested in, and we're doing several pilots around the country, would love to think about something locally. We've had some good conversations in Detroit about potentially doing something, is reallocation of curb space for pickup drop-off. So we're launching a program in Washington, D.C. called Flex Zones. And what these zones are is repurposing of parking to be temporary pickup drop-off. And they're going to flex into existence at night, and then they're going to flex back into parking during the day. And it's primarily in the bar districts of DC, so it's for people at late night who want to go out. But you could very easily see having a section of curb that was a flex zone all day long. And in the morning, it flexed out for delivery. In the evening, it flexed out for parcel delivery. And then at night or during rush hour, it became pickup drop-off for people. So to the extent that we can work together to reimagine cities for the new way things are going. It's not just everyone in a single occupant vehicle. There are new ways of getting around. I think that can be extremely valuable. And I think it becomes much more interesting as we get to this automated future. So I know this has been talked about a lot. Really, like Kenny's presentation was great. It's very challenging. It's very challenging when you think about automation with people, but I think it probably is another order of magnitude when you start to think about automation of goods. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. So I think as we become an automated, shared electric autonomous company, there are a lot of opportunities to do other things with our workforce and with our vehicles that are on the road. So we have a goal of continuing to increase the number of revenue opportunities on our platform, even as we automate. And these could take the form of services for the elderly or the disabled. They could also take the form of parcel delivery. And then the other interesting thing that we're doing now is we just launched electric scooters in Denver, Santa Monica, Washington, D.C. We launch in Austin next week. We're thinking about college campuses, so coming soon, maybe to a campus near you. And the interesting thing about the scooters is not only are they great for the environment, great for an urban area, but the interesting thing is they need to be rebalanced, right? And so all of a sudden now we are in a business of moving objects around back into optimization, which starts to look a lot like intracity freight. So we haven't solved that yet. It's really kind of brute force at this point, where we go out and we manually move scooters around to optimal places like transit stations or outside busy office parks, things like that. But you could imagine a future where our vehicles are taking people, they're also rebalancing scooters, they're also potentially delivering food, delivering goods. It's pretty interesting and exciting. And the thing that I'm most interested in, well, let me talk a little bit about our autonomous vehicle program. Then I really want to talk about electrification, because I think that can touch that can touch greenhouse gas emissions from all transportation in cities. But I want to talk about our autonomous program. So we have a two-prong approach in our autonomous program. The first prong is we're partnering with the world's leading companies. So we're partnering with Waymo, with Aptiv, with Nutonomy, with Jaguar, Land Rover. Also, we're partnering with Ford on some interesting projects. We're also partnered with Magna on hardware and software. So there's this interesting marriage that's cropping up between Silicon Valley and Michigan, which I think is really interesting. There was this, I used to be a research analyst, and there was this idea a few years ago that Silicon Valley was going to try to build cars and Detroit was going to go down in flames. At the time, I didn't think that was real, and I still don't think that's real. I think Tesla has proven it can be done. But I think building a Tesla is what all of us in Silicon Valley would have wanted to do anyway. So they already built it. And I think we're more than content we don't want to build cars. We're more than content to partner with people that know what they're doing in that space. We want to build software, and we want to build a customer experience when you get into an automated vehicle. And so our second prong, though, is we also have our own autonomous lab in Palo Alto, where we are developing our own autonomous technology, just in case everybody decides to go into shell mode and only work within themselves. So we're happy to partner and put autonomous technology on our platform. We also want to have our own in case we need it. And then electric. I do want to talk about electric. So we're almost, we're working on the shared electric autonomous, but we already have some electric shared right now. And so this was my shared Chevy Bolt in San Francisco. It was actually a few weeks ago. I was really excited, so I took a picture with it. We had 4 people in an electric vehicle, and I was really pleased, and I think that's the way we're headed. We have a goal of 50% shared rides by 2020, and then we're spinning up an electric vehicle program. So this is, I got as much permission to tell as much as I could, but I can't tell everything. So starting this year, we are going to be making electric vehicles available to our drivers in a couple US cities, and they will be flexible rentals, so our drivers can afford to take them out. They don't need to have a lot of credit or a lot of capital. And we're going to be targeting our highest mileage drivers. So I'm really excited about this program. You can imagine a driver that does 60, 70,000 miles a year is now driving around in a pure electric vehicle, and we're purchasing renewable energy. In some places, in one of the cities we're working in, it's primarily renewable energy, and in the other one, we're working with the utility to purchase renewable energy. So that's really exciting. And then our plan for next year is to go really big. So instead of on the order of hundreds, we're talking about thousands of electric vehicles available to our drivers. And like I said, there's a multiplier on the mileage. So you could imagine that next year, our goal is that Lyft is going to be a significant percentage of electric VMT in this country, which is a very ambitious goal, but it's definitely attainable. So this is our plan. We kind of have our autonomous and our electric separate a little bit. We're going to electrify the human-driven vehicles, and then we're going to develop autonomous. We're going to let other people put it on our platform, and they're going to converge into this shared electric autonomous. And I think that's why we need, our cities need to start changing now, and they need to start thinking through what this is going to look like. Otherwise, we get all these negative externalities. And I do want to stop there because I want to leave time for questions. But thank you all very much, and really happy to be here.